Hello, this is a presentation on the project critical path. After the project team has estimated the duration of each activity, it needs to determine the dependencies among the activities. Some activities can only start after another activity ends. The idea is that we use that to help us identify the critical path. We used mostly 4 types of dependencies. The finish to start dependency means that the moment I finish an activity is the moment the second activity can start, and is represented by this arrow. I can also have a finish to start dependency with lag, meaning that once I finish activity 1, I need to wait 2 days until I start my second activity. Other common types of dependencies are the finish to finish, in which both activities need to finish at the same time, and the start to start dependency, in which 2 activities need to start at the same time. Most of the time what you're going to see is that we're going to use this type of start to finish dependencies on projects. The project network diagram organizes all the activities that are connected based on their dependencies. They are mandatory and discretionary dependencies. Mandatory means that once I start developing my network, I identify my start and my end date and start placing all my boxes, all my activities, and I identify that some of those activities have hard mandatory dependencies. In this example, I need to have my roof here because if I don't have the walls, I won't be able to put my roof. The same way, I need first to complete my columns in order to build my walls. But some other activities like furniture or landscaping, they are not dependent on most of these activities. They might be dependent on the end of the project, but allows me to move them around or have more flexibility as to where I can place them in the project. The dependencies create a series of paths that go from start to end in the project. So once I complete my project and I start diagramming all the activities and all the dependencies, I end up with this interesting diagram of my project, the project network diagram. From start to end, I have all these different paths that lead to the end or the completion of my project. And these are created by the level of dependency each one of the activities have with each other and from the start to the end of the project. So I create all the different paths in my project. Depending on the nature of the project, the diagram contains many paths. But the path with the longest duration is called the critical path, and we'll explain it later. So we have here in our network diagram the duration of each one of those activities, and we calculate the duration for each one of those paths. The path with the most number of days is the longest duration and is called the critical path. It is called critical path because a delay in any activity in that path will cause a delay in the entire project. When you're using some software tools to manage that, most of the time your critical path is going to be identified in red. And what that means is that from start to end, this is the longest path to finish the project. The other paths take less time, meaning that there is more lag time or time in between where these activities can occur. But the sequence of activities that have the total number of days and they represent the longest duration of the project is also the critical path. It is also the path where there are no lags between activities, so there is no space in between. And when I look at my project and I identify that this is my critical path, it means that if I have a delay in this project, let's say instead of being 20 days, my activity took me another 5 days, those extra 5 days are going to generate kind of a domino effect that's going to push all those activities beyond the end of the project. But in this path, if I have a delay of 5 days, I still have space or time where I can move those activities. The same here, the same here. So those are the areas where I need to make sure that if I have any delay, I still have time, I have available time to work on it. But here, I don't have any time. Any delay on my critical path will cause a delay on the project, or my project being delayed by the amount of time. That is why it's called critical, and that is the focus of most of my work as a project manager, to understand and to monitor these activities, because the other paths contain activities that if they are delayed, there is no problem. So I can still push those activities. They can be delayed as long as they are not reaching the end of the project. I have flexibility, but this is the only area in my critical path where I don't have any flexibility for any type of delays. So that is the concept of the critical path, and the importance to make sure that your project from start to end, you'll be able to manage those activities within that constraint. Thank you.